down, but they're looking for the killer blow. That's it, back of the end zone. Dagger! He's looking. Jamil's coming. He's moving. He's got him. He's got him. It was caught, but Jed has called the sack. Incomplete. He called the sack. It's 2 points to the Hammerhead. An unbelievable sack there by Jamil. This is the last game of the day. It's caught and it's in. It's a touchdown.
That's it.
It's a touchdown. The last play of the game. The clock is at zeros. That's it. Your Swansea Hammerheads are advancing to the Division 1 final, having knocked off the 2 seed and having knocked off the 1 seed. Alan Young, you look absolutely stunned.
What do you mean by live? Genuine live?
Yes.
We're broadcasting.
Hello, radio!
And now, a new episode of The Way We HNC It. Hello, yes, welcome back to another episode of The Way We HNC It, your home of Team GB coverage in the build-up to the Flag Football World Championships later on this month. I have the pleasure this evening of being joined by one of our GB men's national team. He is a friend of the show, a Manchester Crow, and a coffee lover. It is Mr. Liam Harper.
Good evening.
Hello, welcome back.
How's it going?
How are things?
Really well, thank you. I'm very excited to go to Finland in a couple of weeks. We're 2 weeks away from the first games.
I was going to say, yes, exactly. This time in 2 weeks, you will have played World Championship football, I think.
I know. I don't know who we would have played.
I don't know who we're going to play.
Exactly. We obviously know our group, but we don't know. Hopefully we'll know more soon.
The schedule by today, but that's okay. We can soldier on without it. So yeah, I think last time we spoke, you were about to go to Limerick, or just back from Limerick. It was around the Limerick time, anyway. The last time we had you on. So let's just talk about the last year of your flag football life. So, given when you're running Limerick last year. Just tell what was it like? Obviously, that was your first kind of tour with the Gold Squad.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. Results aside, if we're just going to talk about the overall experience of being there and really feeling like an elite athlete, it was an amazing time. And just being around everyone, being with the squad, having that week together, that kind of bonding and that shared experience. I think that was huge. Obviously, I've been to tournaments with the Silver Lions, which are just sort of long weekends or just 2 or 3 nights away, and they're amazing experiences. So this was just another level above all that. Obviously the level of competition is higher, but yeah, just being there for a week. And the University of Limerick was really well set up for the tournament. I think they host quite a lot of different sport tournaments on their campus. So I think the week before we were there, I think there was like a ultimate frisbee or some other kind of sport tournament there. So it's kind of designed in a lot of ways for them in the summer to host these sort of things. So there was an athlete village, which was amazing, just having that kind of experience, and it was right next to the pitches, and so everything was in a really close proximity. So yeah, just being around it, being able to go watch the women, support them. Obviously, they got to the final and won, and that was an incredible experience watching them do that. We weren't able to do that ourselves, the men's team, but we still had, I thought, a really excellent tournament. Went in as an unseeded team, got through our group, which was kind of billed as a group of death beforehand, and had a really competitive quarterfinal against Austria, who came runners up. So I think we took a lot from it. There was a lot of lessons to be learned, taken to move forward with, but also just a lot of joy and a lot of things that we'll always look back on fondly, I think.
Yeah, it looked amazing, and obviously the last ones I was able to kind of keep an eye on and watch the streams of and stuff as a kind of fanboy of the sport were the ones in Israel, like pre-COVID. So this is it was the kind of the first one that, at least since we've been doing this and trying to be flag football media, that we've been able to kind of watch along, and it was very cool. And Andy Keith obviously member, solid and continuing member of the production crew here, even if he's not on the microphones. I think I texted him after like the first game that was live streamed, and I was like, dude, I don't think I can do this for 3 days. Like my heart rate just watching the games was like through the roof. But it's really cool, that's what you want. It was obviously interesting
Yeah, definitely.
like you're returning to the gold squad this year. A lot of lessons, you were saying, a lot of kind of emotions after the Austria game. Following kind of getting home, how long do you think it kind of took to like decompress, process, and then just be like, right, okay, next year, we'll be seeded, we'll have points. Let's get to work.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because we got back, and then it wasn't long until we had BAFA Finals Day. So
yeah,
a lot of my, after getting back from Limerick, a lot of my sort of mind was on getting Crows ready for that, and so I didn't really get a break from flag or a chance to really decompress immediately afterwards. Because I was just so focused on that, and I think that was probably a few weeks after, and then had pink ball with silvers as well. So there was quite a lot going on actually, even after the tournament. But yeah, there were times where I was able to kind of sit back and reflect a little bit and think about my own performances. And we filmed all the games. I know obviously only one was streamed, but we had our VO camera with us, and all that's available for us to watch. So yeah, it was a really useful exercise to go back and watch myself back and look at the sort of things that I did well, things I could improve upon, and then build that into kind of my training for the rest of that year. So yeah, I really kind of got back to work in October time. I took a little bit of a break after pink ball, and then just which was kind of my off season, and then got back to it and just had it. My mindset was, I love the experience. I love being in the squad. I want to do it again because that was my goal, was to get into the World Championship squad.
Yeah. So then, obviously, there was trials for both the gold squad and the silvers squad kind of through the start of the year. Or did you feel like because you were part of the Euro squad, you obviously have that experience, like you felt kind of good about getting back in, or was it, were the coaching staff very much like 12 empty spaces on the list?
Yeah, I mean, my mindset was that there was 12 empty spaces and I was competing with everyone again to make the squad, and I think that's how the coaches viewed it as well. There was definitely no sort of favoritism or kind of, well, this is who we've got because this is who went to Limerick. They're going to look at everyone who comes to trials, and everyone has an equal shot at making the squad, and that's kind of the way I looked at it as well. I'm competing against a lot of amazing players who were there for a very small number of spots. It's very competitive. So yeah, that in itself is, I think, a real motivator for people to take those trials really seriously, prepare the right way, because yeah, at the end of the day, there's way more than 12 players who are good enough to probably to be in the squad for the Worlds. So you've got to try and kind of separate yourself from others because of that.
Yeah, it seems, obviously speaking to the people that have attended the camps, and obviously, Andy's been there kind of documenting it. It seems like it's been highly competitive in like the best way, like it's, you've, the expectation, it seems like, the expectations are high. The coaches are asking a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. I think you want it to be competitive. You want it to be tough. You want to try and replicate real game situations as much as you can, and make it feel that way. And the trials were like that. It was, it's still it's competitive, but it's very collegiate. I would describe it as, like, guys are still very supportive of each other. Like, I'll always be supportive of the guys around me, even if I'm in essence competing against them for a spot in the squad. I think being a good teammate, for me, is really important. And these are guys that I'm going to be playing with, or potentially playing with. So I think being supportive, and being, offering encouragement, offering advice, if it's I feel like it would be valuable. I think that side of thing, and obviously taking that on from other people as well, I think that's a big part of it. So yeah, competitive, but very fun and very collegiate as well.
Good. So obviously, I think Coach Young took the he took like a weekend to kind of make the phone calls, break the news to all those that were trialing. Did he make you wait? Like when he started the call, did he like make you sweat a little bit, or was he just like, okay, before we get going, you're
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't sort of straight away, but it was fairly early on in the call, which was nice. Yeah, we didn't he
okay.
didn't dance around it too much.
Yeah,
He had a lot of calls to make that weekend, so he didn't
that's
have
true.
time to really chat for too long. He was just kind of, yeah, this is what's happening. Chatted for a little bit, and that was it. So yeah, it was that was great. Another great feeling. I remember getting the call last year for the Euros, and yeah, just it's an amazing feeling getting it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you like describe the 5 minutes after hanging up, like after hanging up the call, like, thanks, coach, see you later.
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah, it's a
What
strange
happens
one. I
after
just
that?
kind of go back to drinking my coffee, eating my breakfast. It was kind of early on a Saturday morning, I think, or maybe Sunday just before. I think I went to training maybe afterwards with the Crows. So yeah, it was. You kind of just have to get on with your day, and just, I guess, you got the work starts. So the work has already started, but you kind of have even more motivation to carry on going and for the build up to the competition.
And I guess at that point as well, it was like because not everyone's had their call, right? It's still secret, isn't it? So you can't, like, the people you might really want to tell and talk to, you kind of can't for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, can't really share the news with anyone. I couldn't share the news with anyone until maybe the Tuesday or something like that. A few days after, just because there was quite a lot of people for him to call, and some people weren't available on the Saturday or Sunday, so they had to wait till Monday.
Yeah. So it was that like weird in itself, like keeping a secret, even though it's like a great secret.
Yeah. You want to be able to tell people, but I told Kirsty because she's not going to
Well,
go
yeah.
sharing it around social media. But yeah, that was so. At least I got to tell somebody.
That's good. That's good. So then, yeah. So you're back into camps. In the build up, seems like again everything's going well. The group draw was made and unveiled. I think while we were standing next to each other in Edinburgh. So
Yeah, it was.
like, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, just kind of presented to you guys a couple of days before, kind of, yeah. When you kind of see, 8 groups of 4 teams each, teams from all over the world, like, by volume of teams, biggest world championships we've ever had, you're gonna be part of it. Like, did it feel real when you got like the opponents?
Yeah, it is a little bit surreal looking at the groups and just seeing all those countries, like you mentioned, just from all over the world. And I never would have imagined that I'd ever be playing a sport and competing on a world stage and playing against countries from other continents. Although in the group stage, we've got 3 European teams. So, I mean, it would have been nice to have a real mix and have like one European team, one Asian Oceania team, and one South American or North American team. But just the way they formatted the sort of the draw, we ended up with Germany, Sweden, and Georgia, which I've played Sweden or like a version of Sweden in kind of smaller tournaments, like Big Bowl, and I played some of the German players before, as like Waldorf. And also as the Antarctic Flamingos as well. But this will be first time playing Germany proper and Sweden proper, and obviously Georgia, which who are a bit of an unknown. They were in Limerick, but I didn't really get to see much of them, and there's only one game on the stream. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they're like.
Yeah, kind of unlucky that of the 2 entirely European groups, you're in one of them.
Yeah, that's it. I'm jealous of France. They've got Japan, Kuwait, and Argentina, I think, which is
that's pretty
sounds
sick,
fun.
isn't it?
You get to play, like I say, those from all over the world.
It's like the other one is, I think, is it group? It's the group that New Zealand are in, and it's like Panama, Korea, and a European team. I can't remember who it is. Should have actually brought it up.
I can't remember either, but yeah, it's Panama, New Zealand,
Czechia. Yeah, Panama, New Zealand, Czechia, and Korea. Like that's so good.
Yeah, that's what you
it's
want, right?
it's a real mix. Like that's what you want, It's you think it's like the same emotion as like, if you go to King Bowl and you play a bunch of British teams. It's just that on a bigger level, right? Like we're going to the Worlds and I'm playing European teams. Is it the same emotion?
Maybe on a different level, but yeah, a little bit like that. But
Slightly
no, I
larger
think
level.
having a chance to play the European champions, the third ranked team in the world in the group stage is a great opportunity for us early on in the tournament. And I think we would have loved to have been playing them last year in that final. So we get to protest ourselves against the best team in Europe, and like I say, the third best team in the world, which is a phenomenal opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and kind of it's a good kind of like iron sharpens iron opportunity, isn't it? Like no matter what happens in the game, you're going to come out of it feeling pretty good. You'll learn it's the group stage. Going into the knockouts, like there's not many tougher teams in the tournament you can get after that. So I'm really looking forward to it. I really hope that game is going to be on the stream, which will be on IFAF TV, as was announced the other day. So
Yeah,
quick.
Yeah, I'm hoping that. I mean, apparently all the fields are streamed, so let's see what the quality is like. Hopefully, it's good, and everyone back home can watch.
Yeah, I think the rumor mill was that they will all be live streamed, and maybe two of them will have commentary. So some of them might just be a camera and quiet, and then I imagine on when we do the move into the stadium that there'll be commentary on them all.
Nice. Yeah, I would imagine that they've looked at the group stage, they've looked at all the different games, and I would say our game versus Germany is one of the big ones. That sounds a bit biased, but I think if you kind of looked at it as a neutral and objectively, you would see that as a pretty competitive game, and there's a few others like that, whereas maybe some groups less so. So I'm hoping then it would be put on a field with commentary and probably hopefully the best stream quality.
Yeah, there are a couple. There's like as soon as I saw the draw, Japan versus France, to me it just seems like such a great game, because it really puts the way that IFAF have decided to do their rankings. I think that's like, is that like 10 and 11? I think Japan are ranked 1 point above
8 and 9. Yeah,
8 and 9, right? They're ranked one above Japan, but there's been a lot of chat online about the strength of each continent and stuff. So for me, that's the litmus test right there. Like I think that would be really tasty. It's a European one, but Israel Denmark.
I really like the look of Israel Denmark and Canada versus Italy, depending on how strong Italy are.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good one. USA Spain. Apparently, I think they played in 2021 as well in the Worlds in Israel. So they have played each other fairly recently, but I think that'd be a good game. I know I would expect the USA to win, which is no disrespect to Spain, and I think Spain are a really good team. But I think it'll be a good game to watch stylistically as well.
Yeah, I think that will. Yeah, that kind of. Yeah, I think that'll be really good. And I'm excited to see some of the kind of Oceania Asian teams. Like I watched. I watched the streams back of the continental games over there in Malaysia last year, and like that just looked like an absolute vibe as well. Like that looked amazing. I think it's a shame.
It looked like a fun tournament. I've watched all those games as well.
It just looks so good. Like Kuala Lumpur just looks nuts, absolutely nuts. I'm not sure how I would do in that level of humidity, but
and then the end of the final was played in true monsoon weather.
Absolute monsoon
Thailand
weather.
Managed to drive the length of the field and get that touchdown to the walk-off touchdown. It's a huge shame that they're not going to be at the Worlds. Thailand, they won their continental championship. I would imagine it's a funding issue, which is a real shame. Because I think I enjoyed watching them watching those games back and the way they play. Really fun. It would have been great to have a chance to watch them in person or play them.
Yeah, for sure. And like, it's the same as always, isn't it? It's the World, so you want the best team there. You want the best teams there, and they're certainly ranked very highly. It would be very cool. I'm excited to see, like, judging by those streams, like the Aussie teams, particularly the Aussie women. It's just like a bunch of athletes. Like, a lot of them are playing kind of maybe like lower level Aussie rules, for women's teams, and they're kind of transitioning into flag. So, high pointing slippy balls in the rain is just the way that's just the sport that they've grown up playing. I'm excited to see how they get on. I'm not going to argue the point that it won't be catastrophically difficult in the men's side against Mexico, but I think
they've got a tough.
And even in the women's, the Australian women are playing the US. They've got the USA and France as well in their group, so they've got a bit of a battle in Group A. But no, it's all. I genuinely can't believe it's 2 weeks away. I'm sitting home. I'm basically going to get my Olympic setup back out and kind of just reset for what I've done for the last 2 weeks and watch the Worlds.
So I'd be doing the same if I wasn't there. I'd definitely be watching from home.
And so on the
luckily I'm going to be there.
Luckily you'll be there, yeah. And I guess on the subject of the Olympics, obviously it was the closing ceremony the other night. Did you have a moment to be like, holy shit, next time there's an Olympic ceremony there will be flag players there? Did that hit you more? It hit me pretty hard. I was just like, I think it was Matthew Pinson on the BBC said the words flag football. I think he spoke about it 3 times in the build-up, and I was just like, oh my god, they're going to have to like Matthew Pinson knows what flag football is, or at least knows the words. Maybe he doesn't know what it is.
He knows what flag football is,
but he knows. He knows that it's going to be an Olympic sport. So
it definitely hit me. Just watching from the opening ceremony onwards, it would just come to me sometimes just to think about that. Yeah, in 4 years' time, there's going to be flag football players at the Olympic Village. They're going to be competing in LA. It's really exciting, and it kind of hit me now and again as the 2 weeks passed. And the closing ceremony and it being referred to a few times on the BBC coverage, and then obviously some of the videos that have come out around that time, the one with Jalen Hurts, and then some of the posts on social media since the Olympics ended. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Obviously USA Football, the LA 28 Instagram page, and obviously the NFL have gone in super hard the last couple of days,
they have.
Trying to get exciting, which is really cool. And I guess it's just it'll be there. Obviously, there's so many great venues in LA that could potentially host. I think LA have said that they're not building anything new, so have to start scoping out where we think. But as I know that you are,
I hope it doesn't end up like softball, which is going to be in Oklahoma City.
That's outrageous.
I've never been. It might be nice, but I feel like if you're going to go to an Olympics in LA, you want to be in LA.
I couldn't believe that whenever it's not like there's. And the thing that bothered me is it's not like there's no baseball or softball in California. So I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why it's there.
I don't know why. It just confused me to no end. But yeah, as an Olympic fan that I know that you are, and you, much like me, have spent the last 2 weeks kind of spending every other daytime moment peeking at what's going on. What was your moment of the games? What was the bit for you?
Just overall, I think watching Liam Marchand in that, I can't remember what was it, the Tuesday evening where he did 200 meter races in the same session, and not only won them both but also broke the Olympic record in both of them as well. And obviously with it being in Paris, in France, in front of the French fans and the noise they were making when he was swimming, I think I would have loved to have been there for that.
It was
just
the
watching
alley.
That was phenomenal.
Well, every time he popped his head up for a breath, the alley, I was just I thought the roof was coming down. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I do swimming training as part of my overall kind of training, and I do breaststroke, but no one unfortunately sits at the side of the pool here in Manchester and shouts LA every time I'm doing it. It'd definitely be a little bit more motivational. I have to get through it in silence, unfortunately.
Get a little speaker for the...
Yeah, exactly.
I was just completely unable to get over the men's 1500 meters with Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr.
Yeah, that was a great race.
All the build up. But, and it's funny because it's wee Josh from Edinburgh, it's it's Josh who runs for Edinburgh Athletics Club, and all the build up, and then in the end it wasn't him, it wasn't either of them. And I just thought that was, for me, that really summed up like how finite the Olympics is. Because I don't think anyone would argue that the best two 1500-meter runners on the planet are Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr. Like, no one's really going to argue that. But Hawker won. And for the next 4 years, he is the Olympic champion. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. And he absolutely deserved to win that race because those two ran each other into the ground. And he was like, I'm going to hang on the back here. And if I get a shot, I'll take it. And he did. And now he's the Olympic champion. And like that, for me, is just like, it's 4 years, you know, like Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr will be, in athletics terms, towards the latter part of their career. So that could have been like, it's career defining. I just thought it was brilliant. And then obviously for Jakob Ingebrigtsen to then win the 5,000 meters afterwards, I just absolutely crush.
Yeah, he made that look quite easy.
Yeah. And then
it was interesting listening to the drama around that, because I hadn't followed athletics that closely in recent years. In the build up to the Olympics was when I was getting to know some of the athletes that were favourites for medals, and obviously Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr were two of those for the 1500 meters, and then I got sort of reading about they had a bit of beef going into it. So yeah, there's a lot of media hype around that race.
Yeah, it's just been crazy. Like ever since Josh Kerr won the World Championships, one of the worlds, that was just mental. And then, on the final day on Sunday morning, there I was up for the marathon, and Sifan Hassan. I don't think you'll ever see anything like that ever again. Like, I just can't imagine it. And I'm really sorry for everyone that's expecting a flag football podcast here. But yeah, to medal in the 5,000, the 10,000, and then win over 26.2 miles. That's unbelievable in the space of 6 days. Like, that's just, and it felt inevitable. When she was still there with 10K to go, I was just like, I threw in the running group. I was like, if anyone's watching the marathon, Hassan's going to win this. And I'll be honest, I wasn't sure about it with about half a mile to go. And then I love the Olympics. So never mind in 4 years when there's potentially, like, you know, flag on the line. I don't know if my blood pressure will be able to take it. So yeah, that's World Championship. So we'll come back to the Worlds now. So obviously camps, and you're getting your reps in with the team. You're simulating game scenarios. When you're kind of back on your own in Manchester, like, what does a normal week look like for you in terms of training for flag football?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, Sundays are Crows training, so we train Sunday morning, Sunday afternoons. So always have that throughout the summer, or throughout the year, really, unless we have a game day. So yeah, we do that, and then depending on the time of year, I might go do some hill sprints afterwards, just because the kind of best hill for that is right next to where we train. So it's just kind of handy to go and do a bit of that afterwards. Monday tends to be kind of my recovery day. So I go down the pool, I do some mobility in the pool, just essentially splash around a bit, do a few stretches. That's kind of my pool recovery, and I like to get in the sauna as well. Just find that helps me with recovery. So yeah, Monday tends to be the recovery day, because either I've just come off a 2-day camp or a game day kind of weekend. So I'm probably feeling a bit sore, or I've done quite a bit of training on Sunday with Crows and then sprints and so on. And then Tuesdays, I would probably be hopefully kind of feeling pretty recovered by that point. I think at this point, I recover fairly quickly from camps and game days and so on. So tend to do maybe kind of a lower body strength session or a power session, depending on time of year. So strength more in the off season, power more in season. But Wednesdays have tended to be my max speed day. So I'm quite lucky that Platt Lane, where we've had finals day the past couple of years, and we'll be there again in September. They're kind of affiliated with Manchester Metropolitan University, where I work, and they've kind of kindly let me use their artificial pitch now and again for like my sprint training. So I go down there. It's not too far from where I live, and I'll typically be there on a Wednesday afternoon, doing my sprints. So that might involve just kind of 50 to 60 yards max speed, giving myself 5 or 6 minutes between between efforts. So it's not really a fitness session per se. It's purely for speed, or I might do some kind of acceleration work, which might involve getting the sled out. So I've been lucky to be able to store my sled and weights in one of the offices down there, so I can just kind of pull that out and go do some sled training. Then Thursday morning, so either Thursday morning or Tuesday morning, I like to go in and do my swimming. So that's kind of my cardio, as it were. So like my aerobic endurance training tends to be swimming, just because it takes a bit of load off my legs. I don't really like jogging very much, or cycling really either. So swimming's kind of my cardio, so you want to call it that. So I'll do that in the morning, and in the afternoon might be another sort of power session, lower body power session. Kind of lucky, especially in the summer, being an academic, work can be quite quiet. I can have more autonomy over my time, so I'm able to kind of go for a swim in the morning and get in the gym in the afternoon as well. So that kind of do that. Friday might be more, again, it might be a rest day, and then Saturday I'll do some other sort of training. Might be just kind of like a late lactic power session on the non-motorized treadmill, which is just kind of working on maintaining power during sprint efforts and recovery between sprint efforts. And I've been really getting into Pilates this summer as well, just because I'm getting old, and I've found that mobility has been pretty crucial for me in terms of injury prevention and enhancing performance. So yeah, there's a few Pilates classes at my gym that I try and go to. So Saturday morning, Wednesday morning, I've been trying to get to those when I can as well. So yeah, it's pretty busy. Like I take it really seriously in terms of my training, and that's been like a typical week at the moment. But it might change depending on the time of year, like I say. But in the build up to the Worlds, that's kind of been my focus, and I think this will be my last week of proper training, and then next week I'll taper down before the.
So how long do you think it took you to like perfect that? Like,
definitely took some time. Yeah. I'm kind of lucky that my educational background and the area that I work in is kind of sport physiology, sport nutrition. So, I've been able to kind of rely on some of my own knowledge, and just kind of being able to look at research and be kind of critical of recommendations around training, and kind of apply that to my own training. I don't profess to know it all. Definitely don't. I'm not a strength and conditioning coach. I have worked with one. I worked with one last year. He's actually the strength and conditioning coach for GB Taekwondo as well. And so kind of a really knowledgeable, and somebody who, obviously, flag football and Taekwondo are completely different sports, but he's got he's a certified strength and conditioning coach, has worked in team sports before. So he was really helpful in terms of prescribing certain types of training, and I was able to take that on. But I think the main thing for me was working around knowing when I needed to recover, and knowing when I can push myself a little bit training wise. I think it has taken me a while, to actually get that right. I know obviously you do a lot of training yourself, so maybe you've kind of experienced this too, but yeah, just trying to find the sweet spot, as it were, where I'm not overtraining, not increasing my risk of injury, not kind of feeling burnt out too quickly, just kind of finding the right balance, but also then avoiding the guilt of not training, as it were. I actually find it hard to take a rest day. And I kind of try and reframe it now as kind of like a recovery or regeneration day, because if I use those terms, it kind of helps me a little bit with being lazy, as it were. So that's kind of helped me as well. And I have found the benefits of just having those days where I'm not necessarily doing a lot of training or doing any training at all, but I might be doing something like I say, getting in the pool, just using the massage gun back in the flat, just doing something that feels productive, but it's not fatiguing me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna, because I know what, now that you said that, I know what mine would be. Like, as you say, like my training is more kind of like, I'm training for flag, but it's a lot of running training. But I know what my kind of, I was going to ask you what would be, if you could give out one top tip for someone who's like, I want to start training for flag in a meaningful way. What do you think you would? What do you think you would say?
So I would say once the season ends, for some people that's already the case, and depending on what else they do, I would try and do quite consistent lower body strength exercises in the gym, because what that would do is you're probably decreasing your risk of injury. you're building strength and you're building in the capacity to then, once you get towards a season, you start doing quite a lot more kind of power work, plyos and sprints. And I think to do those effectively and get the most benefit out of them and not injure yourself, I think having a nice strength base is the way forward with that. So if you're somebody that hasn't really done a lot of sprinting, hasn't really done a lot of plyometric exercises, then I think doing some of that strength work first and the mobility work and kind of identifying any sort of maybe imbalances or weaknesses. So you might have one leg that's stronger than the other. You do a lunge and you find it easier on one side than the other, then actually correcting that with strength exercises in the gym would then hopefully translate quite nicely when you do come to doing plyometrics and doing sprints and do those things that ultimately are going to benefit flag performance, because flag's a very explosive sport. Speed kills, not just straight line speed, but acceleration, deceleration, change of direction. So if you can improve those, I think you've got yourself a really good foundation then. Obviously, flag is very technical, tactical, a lot of skills involved as well. But if we're talking purely physical, then that would be my top tip would be, identify any kind of strength imbalances potentially. Do that work in the gym. It helps to do it in the off season because you can focus on it then, and you're not playing as much or training as much maybe for flag. But then as we get closer to the season, that's when you can start doing that sprint work and like I say, the plyometrics. Maybe that's more than one tip, but
it's good though. It's good though. My one was going to be really simple, and it was just go to bed an hour earlier than you normally do.
Oh well, yeah. Recovery's really important. I say I go to the pool, but that would be worthless if I didn't prioritize getting sort of 9-10 hours of sleep a night, which I try and do. I'm very lucky that I don't have children. I don't have that disruption to my sleep wake cycle.
Snap.
And I do a job where I don't have to get up early. Yeah, so I don't have to get up early for work. And so I can sleep as much as I want really, and that makes a huge difference. I know when I've not slept enough. Like it really affects me in terms of my mood, and then a lot of it for me is motivation to train. Like I just convince myself to take it easy and not train as much when I've not had as much sleep or I'm feeling a bit tired.
I think that was the kind of the big one that I learned. It was just like, if you see a lot of people that are like, I'm going to start training. I'm going to start training for a 10K, a half marathon, pink bowl, whatever, anything physical. And you speak to them like 2 weeks later when they've been like, I've been training 5 days a week, and they're like knackered, right? Because they either haven't changed their fuel intake, or they've still been going to bed at 11 o'clock at night and get up at 6, and they're knackered and it falls apart. So my big thing is like, if you're doing all that and you're going to bed you normally go to bed at 11, go to bed at 10. You'll feel great. Like you really will feel great. Like if you can catch it, if you can get 7 extra hours of sleep a week, just doing that, then banging. I'm not saying that just going to bed earlier will make you a better flag player. That's not the message here. But the message is, once you start doing Liam's tips, go to bed earlier.
To be honest, if you're training a lot, then you probably want to go to sleep early. You just feel tired anyway, and you sleep better.
Sleep better.
Doing all the exercise.
It's all great. It's all great.
Yeah, I think if you think about recovery as a pyramid, then the base of the pyramid is definitely sleep and then nutrition. Like you don't have to do this, but I do track what I eat calorie wise, mainly because just to make sure that I'm getting enough calories to meet what I'm expending on a day-to-day basis. Like I'm trying to be in a little bit of a calorie excess each day, and just being able to track. For me, tracking that's just helps me with that, and just making sure that I'm eating enough. Because I don't always have a great appetite, but I can kind of see that maybe I'm going to need to eat a little bit more today because I've done a double session or whatever. So I just have to make sure that I'm eating enough and also eating the right things as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me. It's a big issue actually generally in sport. So people might have heard of REDS, which is relative energy deficiency syndrome, formerly known as the female athlete triad, but it applies to men as well. So that's why they retermed it, and it covers a few more bases. But essentially,
it's a massive
if you're not getting enough energy,
climbing,
and like a lot of increase in injury, illness, like things like stress fractures, the kind of frequency of those goes up hugely, and this can lead to plenty of issues, not just reduced performance and inability to train. There's just so many other health conditions that are linked to it. So for me, just getting enough energy is the big one.
Cool. Right. We'll move on. Big season for the Crows, your domestic club, division champions, heading into the national finals as 4 seed with a lovely bye, which for a local who doesn't usually have to get up early, that's probably great. So yeah, tell me about your
Yeah, it has been a great season. First time winning the division. First time Crows have won the division. So obviously the club has been around a few more years than I've played for. I joined in 2019, and 2015 is when the club started. So amazing for the club to win that division. It has been a really good season. I think breaking off into 2 teams. So we have the Manchester Ravens, who've been in Division 1, who've done really well this year. Have made their own finals day, which is exceptional. Has really helped actually, because it's meant that we've kind of been able to have 2 squads that are really designed for, one's there to compete in the Premier Division and try and win the division in the Premiership and win the division, and then we have Division 1, which is still competitive, and people can view it that way, but it's also development as well. So I think that's really benefited us, and so the guys in the past few seasons who've dedicated themselves to training, all the kind of midweek sessions that we might do and so on, but just never really played that much, have now got the chance to go and play loads in Division 1. But yeah, a really great season, 14-2, and finally beat Manchester Titans. 6-0. If you can remember that scoreline, that was interesting.
I think that was one of the only scorelines of the year I had to check before posting. So just to be clear, we are saying 6-0.
Yeah. You've not sent me the halftime score, have you? Yeah, it was 0-0 at halftime, and I think it was the 70th play of the game where we finally scored. That was both teams combined. 70 plays before someone finally scored. So that was nice. That was like a monkey off my back. I'd never beaten them. And obviously they've won the division every time since I've been a Crow. So to be able to win it, we had to go and beat them. So that was brilliant, and I'm really happy for guys like Phil Shanahan, who's the founder of the team, general manager. Yeah, he's buzzing obviously as the original kind of Crow. I'm most pleased for him, I think. And yeah, we've got finals to come. But yeah, the regular season's been a lot of fun for us. Our goal was to win the division. So we've managed to meet that, and now I hope we can go to finals day. We get the bye, which is lovely. Like I say, being able to watch the wild cards instead of competing in one will be new for me. Never had that experience before. I'll probably have to ref as well, but that's okay. Yeah, we'll see who we get, and it'll be just be another good day, I hope. Don't know what the expectations are at the moment, but to go and be competitive, and if we can finish as one of the top 4 teams after finals day, I think that would be an achievement for us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been like the trajectory of the Crows over the last couple of years has definitely kind of led to, like, it's been trending in this direction. I was going to ask if you thought that maybe, because it's always a balance when you've got one big squad, and I've spoken about this kind of off air before, and so I've chatted to some of the other guys as well about, like you say, now you have a team to win, right? Like because you're not trying to like get up by enough points where you could bring other people in so they get their game time, or even worse, they travel all the way to Edinburgh and they don't get any game time and then they travel all the way back again. Do you think that was like one of the final pieces of the puzzle, was to like just commit in both directions? Like, they've one squad, people that are trying hard but aren't making the Crows now have loads of game time, so they're more likely to make the Crows in 2025, 2026. And then also the guys that are in the Crows now are playing regularly together for the full game to try and go on and win divisions.
Yeah, 100%. I think we have 13 Crows, and then the rest are in the Ravens, and I think you've got 13 guys there who are fully committed to be in it almost every training session, be in every game day if they can, and then of being of the requisite quality to play at the Prem level. And a big thing for us has been, particularly on defense, is building chemistry. So I think between October and Christmas, think everyone who starts on our defense was at training. I think maybe we all missed maybe one session each across that time period. So it just meant that we built a lot of chemistry together. We installed, we kind of changed the scheme a little bit, installed some new things, and we were able to work on all those things together in training. That was even before this calendar year even started. So we came into January, which is obviously pre-season, already have done a lot of the groundwork. Same with kind of on the offensive side of the ball. We put a lot of work in January last year, so 2023 kind of up until and throughout the season, just kind of adapting a little bit and doing new things on offense. And then we've just been able to be a little bit iterative and build on that this year, and we've not had to make too many wholesale changes to the scheme. Again, that's been really beneficial as well. So I think having that kind of reduced squad size, having a lot of time together on the field at training and obviously in games as the season went on, it has made a big difference. Like, I think for us defensively, it was probably a weak spot for a number of years. I think ever since I've been at the Crows, you could always say that our offense had the ability to put up a lot of points, but our defense had the great ability to concede a lot as well. And whereas I feel like now our defense won us games this year, which it hasn't done in the past. Obviously, the 6-0 is a clear one, but there has been other ones where we've managed to hold the other team to 3 or 4 touchdowns. And if you do that, then you give your offense the chance to win the game, because we should be putting up over 30 points a game on offense. So if you can hold the other team to 24, 25, 26, then you're giving yourself a really good chance. And yes, quite a lot of our score lines kind of reflect that this year.
I actually thought our game was like, despite the fact that I think it was it 28-27 or something like that, 27-26. It was a 1-point game, as always.
It was 26-25 or 27-26,
yeah, something like that. I actually thought that, like, despite the fact that that's like 50 points in the game, it was actually like a weirdly good example of like two teams whose defenses were playing really well. Like you guys like stopped our offense very well in the first half, which meant we were in a hole, had to try and get back out of it. And then in the second half, like, our defense tightened right up and stopped you guys extending. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. Like when you feel like, as two defensive players, but like, when your defense is playing well, you do feel good about it, don't you?
Yeah, I think the scoreline at halftime was 26-13 or 27-13 to us, and then we didn't score in the second half. And you guys scored a couple of touchdowns, and it just came down to XPs ultimately. That has been a little bit the story of our season. We've had some really good games on offense, but I think the big ones, it's been our defense that's been the key factor. Broncos, I'd never beaten them before, and we beat them in a really close game. Again, I think that was 27-24, and then the game against Edinburgh, so a couple of games before we played you up there, that was another really close game, 25-21. And it just, that was our defense stepping up and giving our offense a chance to win us the game.
And those games are like really good when you get into finals, right? Because that the finals games are going to be close. Like if it goes to plan for the seeds, you know that you guys are likely to get Reading, like a team that like to score. You're a team that like to stop teams scoring. Like stylistically, I think that's a really good game. As in total, we're going to have very little skin in that particular, because we're out on the periphery of the seeding. So the kind of that central bit of the standings, we don't really get much action in. But I think that would be. I mean, I'm hoping to be playing at the time, but that would be. I think that if that is the way it breaks, then I think that's a good game, for a good challenge, a good test for you guys, and worthy of a quarterfinal.
Yeah, like Reading are the most likely opponents that we'll have in the quarterfinals, and Cheltenham Neptunes, I think, are a very good team. They have a really strong squad, and I feel like next season will be a really big year for them. I feel like maybe this year has been affected by injury, and obviously new players coming into the team, like Ash being the quarterback, Jay Bellamy coming in as well. So another year of those guys together, I think they'll be really strong. I think Sam Harvey's one of the best young players in the country. Obviously, he's a fantastic player, and they've got him. But I think I'm looking forward to watching that wildcard game. I don't completely rule out Cheltenham at all, but I feel like Reading are going to be the more likely opponents for us, and I know them pretty well. Obviously, quite a lot of the guys play for the Silver Lions, and I played with them, and obviously coached them a little bit this year as well. through my role as kind of assistant offensive coach with the Silvers. So I've got to get to know those guys really well. Very, very talented team, and they deservedly have quite a lot of their players in the Silvers, and some of whom I think probably came close to being selected for the World Squad. I'm sure they were in the conversations from the coaches and made the coaches' decisions even harder because they played really well at the trials and showed themselves to be excellent players in the Silvers. So it'll be really fun to play against them if it does come to that. And I feel like we will need to play extremely well on defense to win that game.
Yeah, I'm so excited for finals day. Got the whole weekend coming down on the Friday, back up on the Monday, spending the whole weekend at Platt Lane to just keep an eye on what's going on.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I mean, I'm excited to go down on a Sunday and watch the Ravens play. Obviously, I'm more excited to play myself on the Saturday, but the Sunday I do enjoy going down anyway. But it's going to be even more fun this year because I get to watch the Ravens play a game, and
this is going to be. It's going to be so weird for you because you're going to have game. It's like your first experience of kind of your club playing when you have there's nothing you can do. Because I vividly remember the first season with the Silvers, and you're just I was kind of running the sideline for them and helping with subs and kind of getting them used to organizing their own game days. And there's nothing you can do, and it's brilliant and horrendous at the same time. And then eventually, when they made it to Platt Lane and they beat the Nottingham Bears in a playoff game. It was their first playoff game they'd won. And it was literally the last play of the game. Just chuck a bomb and one catch, one missed tackle.
Yeah.
Playoff game, won.
No,
I'm excited for you as both you, yourself, and also the Crows to go through that because it's very cool. And especially because we were lucky that year as well that obviously the Wildcats had qualified for the playoffs as well. So the whole club went. And being in Manchester will be the same for you guys. It's a very cool experience.
Yeah. I think quite a lot of the Crows are going to be there on the Sunday, and vice versa. Ravens coming to watch us on the Saturday, and we've been able to go and watch them a little bit this season. There has been times where the game days haven't completely clashed, so we've been able to go and support each other. It's a big part of it. It's something that we really emphasise, and Phil, who I mentioned earlier, really emphasised when we did split into two teams, was that we're still one club. We train together quite a lot, even if we have enough numbers. We do try and train separately because it's just, like I say, chemistry, and we're working on different things. But we don't want to move away from not knowing who the person is on the other team just because they play for the Ravens and not the Crows. That's something that we definitely wanted to avoid, and so it has been very supportive. Everyone's got each other's back, and I think being able to go on the sideline and watch some of the games has been a highlight actually this summer. So that's gonna be a fun one. Yeah,
and they will kick off on the Sunday morning against the Leeds Samurai as a former Premiership team. So that is a delicious matchup that clicked into play on the final day of the season for them. Cross Pennine battle. Is it still the Pennines? Is that far down? I can't remember. I'm not sure. English geography, not my strong point. But yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah,
that is
Trans-Pennine battle.
Trans-Pennine battle, yeah. But that is what we all have to look forward to. But of course, first, there will be the World Championships in less than 2 weeks' time by the time this airs. So yeah, Liam, it's been wonderful to have you and chat once again. I guess all I can say is from pretty much everyone that I know, good luck. Have a fantastic time. We're looking forward to watching it.
No, thank you so much, and I'll say a huge thank you to you and Andy and everyone else involved. It's going to be a big job for you to share everything on the social media and keep everyone up to date with everything that's going on over there. So thank you for doing that, and I think both the men's and women's squads are really appreciative of all the work you guys do to sort of publicise what's going on. So yeah, big thank you to you for that.
No problem at all. Much like everyone else, it's just because we absolutely fucking love it. So, well, we'll keep at it. Don't worry. And some new ideas and some new stuff to get out that we learned from Limerick last year. So looking forward to getting as much support behind both of the squads as we can. And yeah, if you want to catch up with what's going on, make sure you head over to the Way We HNC It on Instagram, Facebook, and maybe even the blog. We might even throw something up there for fun. But yeah, thank you, Liam. Have a good night. Better go get that sleep that we spoke about, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, past my bedtime now.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for listening. That is The Way We HNC.